A very good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are all gathered here yet again at the launch of another amazing community services campaign by the Rotaract Club of Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. No further introductions needed. You all know the name. It's Sagna 2.0. The Arabic scholar Rumi once said, "We must not seek for love, but break down the barriers within ourselves that keeps love away." At a stage where the whole world is craving for that extra caring helping hand, the Rotaract Club of Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, has come forth to organize Sagna 2.0, a complete virtual event organized to lend a helping hand to our very own unique band of brothers and sisters in the Sri Lankan community. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on with today's introduction session, let us first celebrate our unity and togetherness as one country, one nation, and pay homage to our motherland, Sri Lanka. Special thanks
Recording in progress.
Special thanks goes to Mr. Shereen Darshana, the sign language teacher from Ratmalana Deaf School, for allowing us to borrow his content. Before we introduce today's session, some housekeeping rules, ladies and gentlemen, as we will be having a series of speakers and academic sessions today. Please be kind enough to keep your video switched off and mics muted at all times. With that mentioned, I would like to again welcome all our participants and distinguished guests, all joining in live with us through Zoom as well as YouTube Live. And I would now like to go on to introduce the chairperson of Sagna 2.0 Project Organizing Committee, Rotaract Jayan Janidu, on stage to welcome you all on behalf of our club.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Arunaja. Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As the chairperson of the project Sagna 2.0, it's my pleasure to welcome you all to the opening ceremony of Sagna 2.0 Sign Language Training course. On behalf of our Rotaract Club, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, first of all, I warm-heartedly welcome Madam Vice Chancellor of University of Colombo, Senior Professor Chandrika and Vijayaratna. We are privileged to have you here, Madam. Next, I'd like to welcome the inspiration behind every one of us, Dean, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, Professor Vidyajyoti Vajradisanaika. I extend my gracious welcome to our keynote speaker for today, co-founder of the Enable Lanka Foundation, Mr. Janitha Rukmal. Your presence today is an honor to us, sir. Next, I warmly welcome the head of the Medical Humanities Department, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, Professor Priyadarshini Galapatti. We are delighted to have you here, madam. Then I amiably welcome District Rotaract Chair, Rotarian Paul Harris Fellow, Past President Marshad Berry, District Youth Services Chairman, Deshamanya Dr. Rohanta Atukorala, District Rotaract Representative, Rotarian Rotaractor, Past President Akila Vijayatunga, District Rotaract Secretary, Rotaractor Immediate Past President Tisro Ramanayaka, District Rotaract Secretary, Rotaractor Immediate Past President Tisro Ramanayaka, Sign Language Interpreter and the resource person of our course, Mr. Janaka Gunawardana, representatives from the Sri Lanka International Model United Nations, and all my fellow members of our Rotaract Club, and also all students who will be participating in our course. Now, I would like to introduce our project Sagna 2.0 to you. First, let me explain the relevance of this project. There are over 300,000 deaf individuals in Sri Lanka. Moreover, WHO has revealed that approximately 9% of the population in Sri Lanka has loss of hearing. There are 25 deaf schools in the country where deaf children receive education, but only up to O levels. For a moment, just imagine that you can't hear your loved one speaking. Imagine that you have never heard your mom's voice. Your favorite song list is no longer there in your phone because you can't hear. What would you feel? Not only that, when you feel sad and heartbroken, you want to talk with someone. But how can a deaf person do that? As a deaf individual, they can't speak either. Therefore, the only way that we can serve these unheard souls is by learning their language and trying to understand their very own problems. Every one of us can be their voices. Sagna 2.0 will give you the perfect platform for that. So this project, Sagna 2.0, consists of 3 phases. In the first phase, we will be having the sign language training course for medical students in the country. We saw the enthusiasm that you all have to learn sign language when we first announced this course. We received more than 1,800 enrollments within just 8 hours. Therefore, we decided to expand the course, and in the near future, we will be having a training session for non-medical individuals.
Thank you very much, Rotaract Supani and Rotaract Afra, for showing us the soul, heart, and mind behind Sagna 2.0. I would like to also remind ladies and gentlemen that this video is now available on YouTube and all the social media platforms. So please feel free to like, share, subscribe our YouTube channel and pass this good message among all your peers. Now, to introduce another pillar of light. If our faculty was a ship, he is the master, guiding it in rough seas, always showing us the way through example. I would now like to cordially invite the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, Professor Vidya Jyoti Vajira Disanayaka, to address the gathering. Dear sir, the stage is all yours.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for those kind words of introduction. Madam Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Chandrika Vijayaratna, my colleagues in the Faculty of Medicine, dear students, senior Rotaract Club members who've been guiding our students, other distinguished invitees, students from other faculties, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to say a few words at the launch of what is most probably one of the most important initiatives that I think has been taken in the field of medicine in the past several decades, if I may say that. I think while we've been promoting trilingual competency amongst medical students and doctors, we have all overlooked the important aspect of making the doctors as well as other healthcare professionals competent in sign language. When you look at the numbers that were quoted today at the beginning of the session, 9% of our population turns out to be 1.8 to 2 million people out there. That is a large number. And perhaps I was wondering why we do not see this number out there in our day-to-day action. I think perhaps that is because of the fact that these people, the mobility of these people, their inclusion with society has been hindered by the lack of sign language competencies amongst not only the healthcare professionals, but also the general population at large out there. The students through this project have highlighted this important aspect that we all seem to have overlooked. And I think we need to admit that we have done that unconsciously. I don't think anybody did that willfully, but it was unconscious, overlooking of a very, very important competency that we should have been promoting in the healthcare field, not only among doctors, but also amongst all other healthcare professionals. The fact that 1,800 students, medical students, I believe, signed up for the program within several hours of its announcements shows that the medical community, the student community out there recognized this important deficiency in our competencies and were ever willing to develop that competency. So that augurs well for this initiative. From our side, from the side of the academic staff of the Faculty of Medicine, as well as the Vice Chancellor said, from the side of the university, we will be very happy to provide you all the support to scale this up and take it forward. And I would like to also pledge from the point of view of the other hat that I wear as the president of the Sri Lanka Medical Council, I would also see what we can do to put the might of the SLMC, as it were, behind this initiative to improve the competencies and to make it a mandatory requirement within the competencies that doctors have as they go on. So with those words, I'd like to say it's always a pleasure to be at your events, because over the past year and a half, I have seen the Rotaract Club doing various initiatives at promoting inclusivity. At a time when the society is divided along various lines, the initiatives taken by the Rotaract Club to promote inclusivity is so valuable and very much appreciated. I'm also delighted that you've brought in Enable Lanka to this initiative. I think Enable Lanka is, has been doing wonderful work to promote inclusivity. And it is heartening for me to know that you have joined up with Enable Lanka as well. And I've had the pleasure of associating with the members of that foundation, especially Janit Rupmal, one of our colleagues, Dineshani Hettiarachchi, is a team member of that. And I'm so pleased that Enable Lanka has also in some way partnered with your initiative. So with those words, it only remains to me to say, yeah, so pleased to see all the good initiatives that all of you are doing. I see the new team at Rotaract Club have taken over from the team of last year and are taking the initiatives to greater heights. So I look forward to supporting you in the year ahead with all your activities, and looking forward to be with you in the future editions of this initiative as well. As you said, there are three stages, as it were. So we'll be with you all the way to ensure that the project reaches its objectives and takes and this initiative is taken to greater heights. So with that, thank you very much for the invitation to be with you this evening. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for those kind and informative words. And as Rotaractors, we are also happy to join in hand in hand with any like-minded party to fill the void of making the unheard heard again. So, ladies and gentlemen, by now, I hope the big question we had at the beginning, why should we learn sign language, is amended in our minds as to why not learn sign language. Isn't the power of changing another person's life and giving a helping hand a reason enough? With the purpose of Sagna 2.0 now defined, let us move on to the introduction of the academic process of Sagna 2.0. To introduce the academic structure and the process of Sagna 2.0, I would like to call upon an enigmatic personality and a great leader of our club. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rotaract Afra Niaz, the president of the Rotaract Club of Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. Over to you, Rotaract Afra.
Thank you, Jan. I hope I'm audible. I think I'm having a little bit of a technical issue with regards to my video. I don't think I'm visible. Am I, Arunaja?
You are not visible, Rotaract Afra, but you're audible.
All right. Yes, just give me 1 minute. Apologies for the technical issue. I will just quickly resolve it and I will join you guys soon. Thank you very much. Apologies again. Arunaja, I don't think I will be visible, but I would like to go on again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining with us today. It is quite unfortunate that I cannot show my video, but I think I speak for all of us when I say that I'm really very grateful to the wonderful words of both our Professor Vajra Disanayaka as well as our VC. It brings us immense pleasure to know that we have your endorsement in our projects, and that brings a lot of strength to our members as well when they move forward with this initiative. So, ladies and gentlemen, the launch of Sagna 2.0 has been the fruition of the hard work and commitment of a lot of members. We have had members working overnight, over months actually, to make this initiative a reality. So I will not take too much time, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to just say that stay with us, and across the course of our medical guide for the sign language, we hope that we will be able to establish inclusivity for all Sri Lankans, even if they do present with hearing impairments. So just to give a quick introduction to the course will be held in 4 sessions, one every Sunday in the week, starting from the 26th of September. And this will go on till the 17th of October. The session will take place over 2.5 hours from 3 to 5:30. And this will take place on our YouTube channel to accommodate all our participants. The sessions will be conducted in Sinhala, but the recorded sessions with Tamil and English subtitles will be made available to the students whose first language is not Sinhala. Once you have completed the course, you have to complete an assessment available on our website to obtain your certificate. Our Rotaract Club representatives will be with you at every step of the way, so you don't have to worry too much. We will help you out with any difficulties that you might be facing. And with this, I'd like to introduce one individual who has been definitely a guiding light and a pillar of strength for our initiative. We would like to introduce our sign language interpreter, Mr. Janaka Gunawardana. ඒ සමගම අපට හැඳින්වීමක් ලබා දෙන ලෙස ජානක ගුණවර්ධන මහතාට මම ආරාධනා කරනවා.
ආයිබෝවන් හැමෝටම සුබ සන්ධ්‍යාවක්. මාව ඇහෙනවද පැහැදිලිව?
ඇහෙනවා මිස්ටර් ජානක.
හරි. හොඳයි. එහෙනම් මේ මට කෙටි වේලාවේ මම මේ පිළිබඳව මම කෙටි සටහනක් මම ගේන්නම් සංඥා භාෂා අපේ වැඩසටහන පිළිබඳව. ඊට කලින් මම සංඥා භාෂා පිළිබඳ කෙටි සටහනක් ලබා දෙන්න. මොකද්ද මේ අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න යන්නේ මේ සංඥා භාෂාව කාවෙනුවෙන්ද කොයි වගේ මේ කාර්යයක් සඳහාද කියන එක මම කෙටියෙන් සටහන් කරන්නම්. ඇත්තටම අපි මේ ඉගෙන ගන්න මේ කරන මේ කෙටි වැඩසටහනක් වුණත් අපි මේකෙන් අපි සේවාව ලබා දෙන්නේ බිහිරි පුද්ගලයන්ට. බිහිරි පුද්ගලයන් කියන්නේ උන්ට කන් ඇසීම නැති නිසා සංඥා භාෂාවෙන් සංනිවේදනය කරන අපේ සමාජෙම ඉන්න මේ කණ්ඩායමක්. ඔවුන්ගේ දැන් අපි ඇත්තටම අපිට අවාසි සහගත කොට්ටාශයක් වශයෙන් සිටින සමාජයේ සිටින කොට්ටාශයක මේ බිහිරි ප්‍රජාව කියන්නේ සංනිවේදනය සිදු කර ගැනීම සඳහා, ඒ කියන්නේ අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි කතා කරන විදියට සංනිවේදනයක් වුණ අතර සිදු වෙන්නේ. ඔවුන්ට ආවේනික වෙන සංඥා භාෂා ක්‍රමයක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපි මේ සංඥා භාෂා ක්‍රමයේ හරහා තමයි අපි ඔවුන් එක්ක සංනිවේදනය සිදු කරන්නේ. මම හිතන්නේ දැන් මෙව වැඩසටහනේ තරමුණක් තිබුණේ අර දෙපාර්ශවය එකතු කරන්නා වූ පාලමක් කියන එක. මෙන්න මේ පාලම තමයි අපි මේ දවස් 4කින් අපි ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක එකතු වෙලා මේ වැඩසටහන කළා. මේ අපි පාලම තමයි ගොඩනගන්නේ. ඒ වගේම සංඥා භාෂාව. අපි අලුතෙන්ම මේ වැඩසටහනට එන නිසා මොකද්ද මේ සංඥා භාෂාව, කොහොමද මේක ව්‍යාප්තිය කියන එක මම කෙටියෙන් හඳුන්වලා දෙන්නම්. සංඥා භාෂාවේ ලෝකේ විවිධ රටවල් වල සංඥා භාෂා භාවිතා වෙනවා. එතකොට එම රටවල් වලත් සංඥා ඒ රටට ආවේනික වශයෙන් වෙනස්කම් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි භාවිතා කරන සාමාන්‍ය අපි ඉංග්‍රීසි, ජපාන්, සිංහල ඒ වගේ විවිධ භාෂා අපි කටින් භාවිතා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි සංඥා භාෂාව රටින් රටට වෙනස්කම් තියෙනවා. එතකොට එහෙම වෙනස්කම් තියෙන මේ සංඥා භාෂාවේදී අපේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට සංඥා භාෂාව ආවේ ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් ඒ කාලේ ඉංග්‍රීසි පාලන කාලේ තමයි සංඥා භාෂාව ලංකාවට ආවේ. ඒ ඉංග්‍රීසි පාලන කාලේදී කිතුණු දහමත් එක්ක තියෙන ආබාධිත ප්‍රජාවට එතකොට බැරි වැඩක් කරගන්න බැරි අන්නේ අසරණ අන්නේ ඒ වෙනුවෙන් පිළිසරණක් වුණ පල්ලිය හරහා ඇති වුණ සේවාවත් එක්ක මෙන්න මේ සංඥා භාෂාව පිට රටකින් අපිට තමයි ලංකාවට ආවේ. එතකොට ඒක විධිමත් විදියට ආපු සංඥා භාෂාව. ඒ ආපු සංඥා භාෂාව එතෙන් සිට ලංකාව ඇතුලේ ව්‍යාප්ත වෙලා ලංකාවේ විවිධ පළාත්වලට මෙම සංඥාව ව්‍යාප්ත වෙලා ගිහින් තියෙනවා. දැන් මම ඉස්සෙල්ලාම මම හඳුන්වා දුන්නා ලෝකයේ විවිධ රටවල් වල තියෙන සංඥා භාෂාව වෙනස් විදියට තියෙනවා කියලා. ඒ වගේම තමයි අපේ ලංකාවේ උතුරු මැද පළාත් සහ ඉතින් මිහාට කියන ඩවුන් සවුත් වෙන මේ හැම පැත්තකම ඒ ප්‍රදේශ දෙක අතර පොඩි වෙනසක් තියෙනවා සංඥා භාෂාවේ. මොකද ඔයාලා මේ වැඩසටහන දවස් 4කට පසු ශේෂ්ත්‍රේ මුණ ගැහෙනකොට බිහිරි පුද්ගලයා මුණ ගැහේ කතා කරනකොට මේ සුළු වෙනස්කම් ටිකක් තියෙනවා. මොකද ඒකත් මම වැඩසටහනේදී මම වැඩි දුර විස්තර මම කියනවා ඒ වැඩසටහනේදී. ඒ වගේම තමයි ඒ කොටස් ටික මම නැවත වැඩසටහන කරනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි අපි මේ බිහිරි පුද්ගලයක් කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය අපි වගේ කතා කරන පුද්ගලයෙකුට වඩා ඔවුන්ගේ සංස්කෘතියේ පොඩි වෙනස්කම් කීපයක් තියෙනවා. ඒකට බිහිරි සංස්කෘතිය කියලා දෙයක් තියෙනවා. අපි එතකොට ගනුදෙනු කරන්න යන්නේ කොයි වගේ කට්ටියත් එක්ක. ඒකට යාළගේ තියෙන සංස්කෘතියක් විදියට මම කිහිපයක් සඳහන් කරන්න. බිහිරි සංස්කෘතියේ කොටස් කීපයක් විදියට තියෙන එකක් තමයි යාළා සංනිවේදනය කරන්නේ අත් දෙක භාවිතා කරගෙන. ඒ වගේම තමයි එයාලගේ සාමාන්‍ය දිනචර්යාව ඒ කටයුතු කරද්දී සාමාන්‍ය අපි කරනවට වඩා පොඩි වෙනස්කම් කීපයක් තියෙනවා. මම මේ පිළිබඳව වැඩිදුර විස්තර ඇත්තට මේ වැඩසටහන අතරතුරේදී මම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මේ කෙටි වේලාවකදී මේ සංඥා භාෂාව කියන එක ගැන කෙටි හැඳින්වීමක් කරන්න පමණයි. එතකොට අපි ඉදිරියේදී මුණ ගැහුණාට පස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන් මේවා මීට වඩා පුළුල්ල සාකච්ඡා කරන්න පුළුවන්, ගැටලු තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා කතා කරගන්න පුළුවන්. මම හිතන්නේ අපි එහෙනම් ඉදිරියේදී මුණ ගැහිලා මේ කටයුතු සාර්ථකව කරගෙන යමු. මේ සඳහා මට අවස්ථාව ලබා දීම පිළිබඳව මම ඇත්තටම සියලු දෙනාගේම ස්තුතිය ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි මේම වැඩසටහනෙන් පසුවත් මම ඕගොල්ලොත් එක්ක රැඳිලා ඉන්නවා. සමහර විට ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ ශේෂ්ත්‍රයේදී මොන හරි ගැටලුවක් ඇති වුණොත් මාව සම්බන්ධ කරගෙන ඒ ගැටලුව निराකරණය කරගෙන ඉදිරියට යන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙනම් අවස්ථාව ලබා දීම පිළිබඳව බොහොම ස්තුතියි. ආයුබෝවන්.
Thank you, Mr. Janaka. So like we said, ladies and gentlemen, he has been an extremely important and integral part of the fact that our sign language course was able to come from a dream to a reality. So do keep in touch with us and stay tuned with us. All our material will be available on our website once the initiative is over, but do join live as well. And our course will be live streamed on YouTube. So thank you very much for all your kind words. Again, Professor Vajra Disanaik, as well as a VC. We look forward to working with all of you. And with that, I'd like to hand over to Arunaja. Over to you, Rotaract.
Thank you very much, Rotaract Afra, and also Mr. Janaka Gunawardana. I think all the goals and the objectives of Sagna 2.0 was aptly covered for all our participants. So ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to witness the moment we all have been waiting for. The keynote speech of the evening. Today's keynote speaker is a very special person. He's the co-founder of Enable Sri Lanka Foundation and a living example of the long-term advocacy for inclusivity and the persistent pursuit of for equal rights for all Sri Lankans. He's also an entrepreneur, a PhD holder, and a software engineer. And most importantly, he's also a fellow compassionate human being. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome again our keynote speaker for the evening, Mr. Janitha Rukma. Mr. Janitha Rukma, sir, over to you.
Thank you. and I hope I can be seen and heard clearly. Of course, for a fact, I can't see you guys, so you might as well have to
Yes, sir, you
confirm.
are audible and also visible.
Fantastic. So I consider it a great privilege to address all of you in this occasion, and I wish to extend my sincere thanks to Professor Vajradhi Sanayaka for his kind mention of the involvement that Enable Lanka had with University of Colombo over the years, I might say. Um, and also, uh, what I would like to emphasize in the short time that has been given to me is how important it is for medical professionals to be conversant or to be aware of this particular aspect of disability inclusion, which is addressed by the project Sanya. And I'm really proud and glad as a former fellow Rotaractor to see that the Rotaract Club of the Faculty of Medicine in the University of Colombo has done this not just once but twice. They are embarking on the same journey with better improvements to address this much felt, much needed initiative, which is bridging the silence by introducing sign language and promoting sign language among medical professionals or aspiring medical professionals, I might say. Silence, my dear friends, is powerful when it is needed. But have you ever thought that silence can make people powerless? The community of hearing impaired people that we call deaf community, as they prefer it to be called like that, are a community, are a people that have to suffer in silence because we as a society have failed them. We as a society have failed to communicate with them effectively, to understand their needs and include them in our midst. So this has been one of the facets that has been addressed in this particular sign language teaching or sign language learning and teaching endeavor. So, as uh, the president of the Rotaract and all our fellow Rotaractors have been describing for the last 20 or 30 minutes, uh, this consists of a lot of avenues that a medical or healthcare professional is sensitized to the nitty-gritties or ins and outs of sign language as well as their culture. Because with this particular communication avenue springs a culture that is unique, and it surpasses all these ethnic, language, regional, geographical boundaries, and it unites communities as one. So, as you may have observed already, disability itself is a social and a particular concept that bridges a lot of gaps, including ethnic, religious, racial, and various boundaries. So, because to be very honest, we have taken many things for granted in our life. One such is the eyesight, the vision. Another is the ability to speak, and the other is the ability to hear, and then the ability to be the dexterity, the use our hands and limbs to get whatever we want done. We have taken all these for granted. And when you look at these specific communities, you realize that whatever things, such as hearing, that we have taken for granted, has has caused a certain community with a unique identity to be left out of the mainstream of communication. So this is what we are facilitating, or your club is facilitating through this initiative. And as a co-founder of Enable Lanka Foundation, I'm really happy to be here and uh, probably inspire you to do more than what you usually do throughout this course. So, as the launch of this course for the second time takes place, I'm really thrilled that the Rotaract Club has thought of this as an initiative that needs to continue, because the lack of awareness in this avenue in the healthcare professionals and medical professionals has led to a lot of lapses in our system. For one, there is a misconception promulgated by certain professionals that if young children who have acquired deafness or who are born hearing impaired, as we politically correctly say it, or as they prefer to call it, who are born deaf, are should be discouraged to learn sign language because whatever the bit of hearing or whatever the bit of ability to express themselves will be um, discouraged as a result of using sign language because it's completely physical. And of course, as mentioned, it includes the facial expressions and it includes a lot of things that's going on which are more visual. So, because of this misconception, a lot of children are brought up away from the much needed education in sign language. So as a result, they are relegated to use methods like lip reading and rudimentary communication avenues to use for their communication needs. And in the mainstream systems, it's difficult for them to receive the accommodations that they need to excel in their education, livelihood, economic prospects, and socializing aspects, everything. So, if the medical and healthcare professionals will be well sensitized and made aware of the importance of using sign language effectively, not only to communicate and sort of draw the attention of the parents of deaf children towards those avenues, but also to communicate with those who use sign language. In in short, those who are deaf, because in lot of circumstances there could be a lot of misdiagnosis as a result of the lack of this knowledge. So I'm sure most of you, as healthcare professionals, would be visiting the grassroots in our country. Although this is a very small country in size, we have a lot of levels in terms of um, the poverty and all these economic prospects, social prospects, which have distanced the people from all these amenities we in Colombo receive, all these privileges we in Colombo receive. So, in those communities, a child with a disability, especially a child who's deaf, will not be even included in the statistics when the census is conducted. Because for those communities, that's like persona non grata. So, if the medical and healthcare professionals will be sensitized enough to understand the need of including these people in daily activities and letting them decide what they want rather than the society dictating what their decisions in future would be, especially in terms of institutionalized care, which is like the default or de facto option for them that has been pursued over the years in the society. It's time that these things be changed and the people who use sign language also deserve to be in the place of what we all hold dear, in the sense they should be able to excel in academics, they should be able to choose careers that they want, and they should be able to maximize or capitalize on the specific skill sets they have rather than working on shop floors, rather than doing menial work, rather than basically getting into the kind of jobs that we pursue as blue collar jobs. They should be able to get into the kind of white collar jobs that everyone else gets based on their skills, the knowledge and acumen in whichever fields they desire to pursue. So to enable this, to open this avenue of rather inclusion, the medical healthcare professionals do an invaluable service. So in regards to this particular service, it's very important that our clubs like Rotaract and all these university related clubs and societies take the pioneer initiative and conduct this kind of programs regularly. So I am hoping that just like the Rotaract has inculcated these values of inclusion through certain events in the mainstream Rotaract, such as I Am a Special Child, and so many other initiatives conducted in the Rotaract and Rotary systems. This also will be an empowered initiative that will be passed along generations with its quality and with its impact intact for a lot of generations to come to this faculty. And we sincerely hope the impact generated through this initiative will be maximized from every step to the other, and it will somehow bestow a generation of medical and healthcare professionals who are proficient in sign language just as any other language, national language, and will be able to cater to the needs of those who use sign language. With that being said, I wish to conclude my speech with a big thank you for the organizers and the Rotaract Club of University of Colombo, and also the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, for helping and endorsing these initiatives. And thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I think everyone in the medical student perspective, as well as the non-medical student perspective, was motivated to the core to learn and use Sagna 2.0, both as a weapon directly to change the lives of our fellow Sri Lankans, as well as a tool for advocacy. Thank you very much again for showing us that. So ladies and gentlemen, next in line, we have another professional personality gracing our Sagna 2.0 session. This person has had years of experience behind her in the medical field, interacting with all corners of our Sri Lankan society. Please welcome Senior Professor in Pharmacology and the Head of Department of Medical Humanities at our Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, Professor Priyadarshini Galappatti. Madam, the podium is all yours.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, madam. You're both audible and visible.
Okay, right. Thank you very much for inviting me for this occasion. Madam Chandrika Wijeratna, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Vajra Disanayaka, the Dean of the Faculty, all the Rotarians present in this meeting, the keynote speaker from Enable Lanka, all the office bearers of the Rotaract Society in our faculty, my dear students and ladies and gentlemen. It's such a happy occasion for me to see these initiatives taken by our own medical students on their own initiative to help a segment of our society with special needs. That shows the humanitarian qualities that you have, the kind of qualities that we try to inculcate in you, particularly through this department. So I am extremely happy to see you initiating a course to make the medical students understand the difficulties facing these patients, these human beings who are unable to hear anything, and the difficulties that they face in seeking particularly medical attention, and trying to help them in a way that you will be able to communicate with them effectively. I think this is something that we as academics should have done, which you have taken over. And I'm extremely happy to see that you all are taking this leadership in this type of activities at a time when we need to be caring and showing our empathy and attitude and correct attitudes to our fellow human beings who are differently abled. I think I was deeply moved by that video that you all showed in showing how even simple things, how difficult it is for for somebody who is not able to hear. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, somebody who is deaf from birth is unable to talk as well, because that person has not, the baby has not heard anything, and therefore is unable to talk as well. So it is double disabilities that such a child who goes into being an adult faces, and you can imagine the difficulties that such a person faces in the society. As earlier mentioned by the previous speaker, we take a lot of things in our life for granted, and hearing is one of those things. You can just imagine what we would be able to do if we are not able to hear what you're hearing right now. So therefore, I am so happy to see that our students are so empathetic, compassionate towards a segment of our own society. And you mentioned the magnitude of the problem. I mean, up to about 1 million who would be having hard of hearing. And I think this is such an important activity that you have started. And I'm so proud of you all as our own students. We, we see this type of initiatives from our own students. So I believe that this course, which you said that over 1,800 students have already registered for it. So with that, I believe that most of our future doctors will be able to communicate with these people, patients who are hard of hearing. I know particularly with taking medications for these people, they will not hear any of the advice that we give them. So in fact, I will advise you to link up with Professor Chamari Veeraratne in our department. She has been doing some work in patients with hearing as well as visual disabilities. So she has been designing some ways of communicating with these people with some pictograms to show the people, particularly on usage of medicines. So I think those also will be very useful for you perhaps in this course, or even to take some more activities forward in communicating with these people who are hard of hearing. So I am extremely happy. This is a very proud, happy moment for me to be at a function where our students are showing their humaneness, their compassion for people who are not as fortunate as us, and trying to do your part in helping these people as future doctors of this country. I'm extremely proud and happy to be here with you, and thank you so much for making me also part of this journey of yours. And I will be very happy to give you whatever the assistance through the department for these activities that you take, which I think has a profound impact on the lives of people, and also making you better human beings, the kind of doctors that we hope to see in the future treating our patients. Thank you very much, and all the best in all your activities in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam, for the kind words, and also for the vision of humaneness you always invest in us in faculty activities. So, ladies and gentlemen, the final academic session of the evening is now looming over us, and that is to introduce the handbook of Sagna 2.0. To do this, I would now like to cordially invite over Rotaract Amasha Patirage to the limelight. Rotaract Amasha, over to you.
Thank you, Rotaract Arunajal. Good evening. Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Senior Professor, Professor Chandrika Vijayaratna, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, Professor Vidya Jyoti Vajradisa Nayaka, Head of the Medical Humanities Department, Professor Priyadarshini Galapatti, Mr. Janitha Rukmal, our keynote speaker for the day, co-founder of the Enable Lanka Foundation, and our distinguished invited guests. Today, we are proud to be launching our publication, Bridging the Silence, the Handbook of Sign Language for Medical Personnel, under the Sagna 2.0 initiative of the Community Service Avenue by the Rotaract Club of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. We believe that the differently abled community should not be at disadvantage when seeking essential services such as healthcare. However, they continue to be continuously marginalized and face constant difficulties due to the lack of understanding and the gap of communication. Our main objective in compiling this handbook is educating the medical community in sign language in order to transcend these barriers of communication between the deaf community and their non-hearing impaired counterparts. As doctors and service providers, we believe it's our duty to be conversant in sign language in order to provide optimal healthcare services to our patients with hearing impairment. Bridging the Silence is a learning guide which has been compiled as a convenient and a practical handbook for medical professionals to use in their day-to-day practice. I will now be sharing with you a small glimpse of our ebook. Rotaract Afra, would you be able to share the... Thank you. This handbook will comprise of 7 chapters, which will cover a diverse area of topics. Next slide, please. The first few chapters will comprise mainly of sign language knowledge to conduct a basic day-to-day interaction with a deaf person. In chapter 1, we have included the English alphabet, which will be important in spelling a word out in sign language that you do not know the sign language term of. The chapter 2 will include numbers, and the next chapter will cover basic greetings and common words that are used in a day-to-day setting. This learning guide will also provide extensive knowledge on how to converse with a person with hearing impairment in a hospital setting. Next slide, please. We have covered how to obtain a case history in sign language and how to conduct a general examination. This learning guide will also address how to conduct a systemic examination, which includes more focused terms in relation to all the systems in the body, and it will also include important terms when conducting a psychiatric assessment. Communication between the patient and medical professionals is crucial in a medical emergency, such as in an instance of poisoning or snake bites. Therefore, we have compiled our last chapter to navigate you through how to communicate in a medical emergency in sign language. Now, I will guide you through some contents of the book. Sign language is a language with no written or verbal form. It's not just about the hand signs, but it's an overall combination of facial expressions, body and head movements, and lip movements. This is important when learning sign language, and it is with this objective in mind that we have compiled this handbook to include short video clips of each sign, so that our readers will get a better understanding on how to actually converse in sign language. As you can see, you can play each short video clip as you prefer, and it will showcase the sign language term for the text that is below each video clip. It is also possible to easily navigate this ebook by using the search function, and we are sure that this handbook will be a convenient and a practical learning guide for you. Thank you, Rotaract Afra. This book will be published in the format of an ebook and will be released on the 23rd of September in commemoration of the International Day of Sign Language. I would also like to take this opportunity now to express my gratitude to our sign language instructor, Mr. Chanaka Gunawardana, our resource persons, Professor Saroj Jayasinghe, Professor Lalindra Gunaratna, and Dr. Manideepan Khandia, who have been an immense guidance to all of us. I'm also grateful to our President Rotaract Afra Niaz the Vice President of the Community Service Avenue, Rotaract Supanila Mahevage, and the Project Chair, Rotaract Jayan Janidu, for their constant support. I'm also deeply thankful for each and every member of our hardworking team of authors, editors, designers, signing team, and videographers behind this compilation, without whom this would not have been possible. We hope that this handbook will be instrumental in your journey of learning sign language, and we hope that it will be the first step towards truly bridging the silence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rotaract Amasha. I think everyone is a bit more eager after seeing the handbook to get on with the Sagna 2.0 session, because it was so nicely designed, and it was also, it seems very practically applicable to the medical scenario. So thank you very much for that. So ladies and gentlemen, with the introduction of the academic sessions now covered, we have the leadership of Rotaract Sri Lanka to address us next. For that, I would like to cordially invite over a familiar face to our home club and a great leader who is always cool under pressure. Please welcome District Rotaract Representative, Rotarian Rotaractor, past President Akila Wijetunga on stage. Rotaract Akila, the podium is all yours. Ladies and gentlemen, very much sorry for that small technical mishap there. While Rotaract Akila gets ready, we have another session here. Out of the many societies and clubs taking the youth voice of our country, Sri Lanka, into the international stage, Sri Lanka Model United Nations is always a forerunner. Today, we have some representatives from Sri Lanka International Model United Nations to introduce you to another very, very interesting session that is going to take place parallel to Sagna 2.0. So I would now like to hand over the opportunity to the representatives of the Sri Lanka International Model United Nations to carry on.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So hello everyone, good evening. My name is Prabhani Senanayaka and I am the Deputy Project Manager for Sri Lanka International Model UN. And here we have with us today, Sandra Satyajit, the co-founder of Dawn Academy, Santosh, the project manager, and we have Adarsh Sivakumar, who is the head of finance as well. So talk a bit about Sri Lanka International Model United Nations. SLIMUN is a platform where youth mindset in leadership, negotiation, and diplomacy is established, nurtured, and built in order to help humanity and create a stronger and more prosperous future for mankind worldwide. It was created by some of the individuals who serve as the very few people who've represented in Model UN around the world. It aims to engage youth leaders from all over the world and provide a platform to exchange experiences, perspectives, viewpoints in order to solve detrimental issues with no regional boundary. Having established ourselves globally, we intend to revolutionize the MUN movement in Sri Lanka by incorporating most of the modern concepts of MUN that are not currently present in the situation. Having recognized potential talent across the island, we aspire to be the pinnacle of success to all aspiring MUNers from around the country. Sri Lanka International Model UN can act as an incubator in order to jumpstart their career while helping them boost their soft skills along the problem-solving skills and negotiations. Sandra, over to you.
Thank you very much, Prabhani. Thank you all for listening to us. And we are Sri Lanka International Model United Nations, like my colleague also told all of you. So let me tell you a little bit about why we are here. Very shortly, in this small amount of time, I'll be using both languages. මට සහ අපේ කණ්ඩායමට ලැබිලා තියෙන මේ පුංචි වෙලාවත් එක්ක අපි කෙටි සඳහනක් කරන්නම් මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් මොඩල් යුනයිටඩ් නේෂන්ස් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා. දැන් ඉස්සල්ලාම මේ එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ සංවිධානය අපි ගත්තම ඒක දැන් මේ මොඩල් UN කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක තමයි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇත්තේ හැමෝටම. මොඩල් UN කියන්නේ එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ අපි තියෙන සාමාන්‍ය වෙන ක්‍රමවේදය අරගෙන ඒක ආදර්ශයක් විදිහට අරගෙන ලෝකෙ පුරාම සමුළු පැවැත්වෙනවා. These are conferences that are taking place around the world. Now, there are so many, even in Sri Lanka, that take place. You must have also heard or you must have also been. Habai, api Sri Lanka International Model United Nations වෙනස් වෙනවා මේ අතරේ. මොකද ලංකාවේ තියෙන ප්‍රථම පළවෙනි වතාවට ජාත්‍යන්තර කොන්ෆරන්ස් එකක්. ජාත්‍යන්තර සමුළුවක් සංවිධානය කරන්නේ අපි තමයි. ඉතින් මෙතනින් තමයි අපි වෙනස් වෙන්නේ. So we are doing something entirely different. And why we are talking here today is now, let me tell you a very quick story, right? Now, all of you are medical students. I very have a lot of respect to the medical students and everyone who is in this field. Now, why is that? Because I have friends who debated with me. They didn't know anything. That makes a Model United Nations කියන්නේ මේ අර UN එකට යන්න බලාගෙන ඉන්න කට්ටිය විතරක් නෙවෙයි. It's not just for those individuals. It's for anyone from the profession, the legal profession, from the medical profession, to anyone who wants to pursue economics, ආර්ථික විද්‍යාව, නීතිය ඕනම ශේෂ්ත්‍රයක් පිටිපස්සේ යන්න කැමති කෙනෙක්ට තමයි මේ එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ මේ ආකෘතිය එක්ක අපි කරන සමුළුවට අපි ආරාධනා කරන්නේ. Now this is MUN is a big opportunity for so many of you all. Right? Why is that? Because now we know this knowledge, right? අපි දැන් මම ගත්තම මම නීතිය ඉගෙන ගන්න ළමෙක් සිසුවෙක්, right? දැන් එහෙම ගත්තම අපි නීතිය, we have the law, right? But at the same time, we also have certain different aspects, like you all learn the medicine side of things. Now, when we learn these things, we have nowhere to put it out. But MUN gives you a platform to bring out your ideas. ඔබේ අදහස් ඕගොල්ලන්ට ඉස්සරහට දෙන්න අවස්ථාවක් දෙනවා මේ MUN කියන concept එකේ ආකෘතිය. ඇයි? මොකද අපි දැන් example. Now, biggest example is now SLI MUN, Sri Lanka International Model United Nations, has 10 to 11 different committees. අපිට තියෙන එක එක දැන් මේ මුළු සමුළුව ඇතුළෙම different committees 11ක් තියෙනවා. ඒ 11න් එකක් තමයි World Health Assembly. මම ලෝක සෞඛ්‍ය සභාව කිව්වොත් මම හිතනවා මම නිවැරදි කියලා. World Health Assembly. Now the World Health Assembly is where you talk about medical issues. You can talk about, especially with the current context, COVID-19, or even more worse diseases that are going on in the world. So many things, guys. Now, when we talk about these things, we need to make sure we voice our thoughts, right? That is why SLI MUN is a place where you can voice your thoughts about these things. Like you can solve ඕගොල්ලන්ට ලංකාවේ දේශීය විතරක් නෙමෙයි විදේශීය ප්‍රශ්න. Not just problems in Sri Lanka, but also around the world can be solved, can be voiced out by you. Imagine not keeping that information you have about all of these things to yourself, but you can talk about this to anyone and everyone and represent as a country. දැන් එතනත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගිහලා ඔයගොල්ලන්වම නෙමෙයි represent කරන්නේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ නියෝජනය කරන්නේ වෙනම රටක්. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් ෆ්‍රාන්ස් කියන රටෙන් ඒ ෆ්‍රාන්ස් කියන රටේ සෞඛ්‍ය තියෙන නීති ඒ ඔක්කොම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පුළුවන් රිසර්ච් කරලා අරගෙන කතා කරන්න. Why? Because you're coming together as different countries to form a beautiful solution to the problems around the world. The WHA is such a committee that we have in SLI MUN, and we would today we are here to extend that value to you also. මොකද අපි ඇත්තටම ගොඩක් අය කතා කරලා තියෙනවා මේ පිළිබඳව අපි නීතිය පිළිබඳව ශිෂ්‍යයන්ට කතා කරලා තියෙනවා අපි ආර්ථික විද්‍යාවත් එක්ක එකතු වෙලා ඉන්න ශිෂ්‍යයන්ට කතා කරලා තියෙනවා but we have not spoken to anyone from the medicinal faculty because lots of individuals need this and ඕගොල්ලෝ එක්ක එකතු වෙන්නේ තියෙන වයස් පරතරයත් මාර වෙනස් පරතරයක් තියෙනවා මොකද you have ages from 13 to 20 plus about 28 right so you can actually have proper doctors attending too while also 14-year-olds who are coming to learn. It's a huge, the youth. May taruna katti okkoma ekathu vela inde. All the youth coming together in order to put this one one conference together. මේ සමුළුව එකතු වෙලා අපි කරන්න ඉන්නේ what we are going to do is something very revolutionary, right? So Sri Lanka International Model United Nations, very basically, guys, is where you can come talk about your issues, right? Talk about the world's issues as a country, representing yourself, representing a nation where you get the chance to voice out and solve problems, right? Sri Lanka International Model United Nations is different from other MUNs in Sri Lanka. Why? Because we do not facilitate the cutthroat culture. Avilla, basically telling, it's not just like the parliament where you have to talk, where you can't talk when someone's screaming. එහෙම තමයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් culture එක තියෙන්නේ. MUN වල විශේෂයෙන්ම ශ්‍රී ලංකාව. හැබැයි ඒක නතර කරලා අපි එකතු වෙන ලොකු strong academics team එකක් with the best of Sri Lanka and around the world also to make sure that everyone, diplomacy කියන වචනේත් එක්ක අපි විවෘතව මේ solutions ගැන කතා කරලා එකතු වෙලා United Nations එකෙන් වත් කරන්න බැරි අදහස් එකතු කරගෙන ලෝකෙට සහ මේ රටටත් අපි ආදර්ශයක් දීලා මේ solutions අපේ තියෙන අදහස් තරුණයන් විසින් right තරුණයන් විසින් අපිට තියෙන අදහස් එකතු කරලා දෙන්න තමයි අපේ මේ පැතීම ඇත්තටම because as SLI MUN this is our goal and we wanted to extend this to you all as well because SLI MUN is where we are here is so we have a quick question from the audience. Yes, this is the conference that is happening on the November 20th and 21st. Yes, SLIMUN. We will be informing you. That is not the venue. We'll be informing you the venue quickly. You'll be able to visit us on www.slimun for all the information that is available there. You can talk to us and be via the website, or my name is also here, Sandra Satyajit. You can contact me or my colleagues who are present here today. So that's about SLIMUN, the pinnacle of diplomacy, where we urge you to come together with us and form a bigger community to help everyone. Thank you very much. And my colleague has also posted something on the chat where you can take a look at, where we are giving you a special offer here if you do come and register with us from here. Other මෙතනදී අපි එක register වුණා නම් ගෙවන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Nothing to do like that. But you can pay later on for sure. But right now, it is an opportunity for you to come forward and register with SLIMUN so that you have a chance to gather your seat, reserve a seat with a 20% discount in November. Don't miss the chance. This is a very big opportunity for you all, especially when the Sri Lankan education system is very drastically failing in terms of many areas that we are not in par with the other countries. So take this opportunity to learn. I personally have learned so much from MUN. Don't miss the opportunity. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys. Hope to work with you in the future sessions as well. So ladies and gentlemen, apologies again for that small technical mishap which happened before. It seems sadly that the leadership of Rotaract Sri Lanka will not be able to join with us today, but certainly they will join with us in the future sessions of Sagna 2.0. As we have come to the near end of our inaugural introduction session, to thank you for your time and effort and all the dedication you put into making today a success, I would now like to invite over Rotaractor Hansani Hagodagedara to do the honors by giving out the vote of thanks. Hansani, over to you.
A very good evening to our distinguished guests, speakers, and colleagues. I, on behalf of Team Sagna, would like to propose a vote of thanks. First and foremost, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Madam Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Chandrika Vijayaratne, for taking the time to join with us today to grace this occasion. Madam, your presence here is a great honor to us. Project Sagna 2.0 would not have come this far if not for the constant support and guidance of the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, Professor Vidya Jyoti Vajradesanaika. Sir, thank you for being an inspirational role model and giving us the strength to continue our work, not only as students, but also as Rotaractors and future doctors. I want to extend our most sincere thanks to our keynote speaker, the co-founder of Enable Lanka Foundation, Mr. Janita Rukmal, whose presence today inspired us to go forward more enthusiastically and bravely in our ventures in helping the community. Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. My heartfelt gratitude goes to Professor Priyadarshini Galapati, the head of the Medical Humanities Department of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, for all the encouragement, guidance, and continued support to make Sagna 2.0 a success. My heartfelt thank you goes to Rotarian Retractor and past president, Akila Vijaythurga, and the district Rotaract secretary, Retractor, and the immediate past president, Tisura Ramanayaka, for joining us today. I also want to thank the representatives of the Sri Lanka International Model United Nations for joining with Sagna 2.0. Bridging the gap of communication between our communities has been the slogan of Sagna 2.0. One of the biggest forces behind the success of Sagna is our sign language structure, Janta Gunawardana. We are grateful for the constant support we received from you. The Rotaract Club of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, has always played an active role in growing and helping our community. I thank all the members of our club who work tirelessly amidst their busy schedules to bring life to Sagna 2.0. I also want to thank Rotaract Ramesh Deshapriya and Rotaract Thanuja Kottavalagadara for laying the foundation for this project and for your guidance. Finally, and most importantly, I thank everyone who joined with us today. It is our efforts to help our community that makes the world a better place to live in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hansani. With that, I would like to again thank all the speakers and all the distinguished guests for their amazing speeches, and also the Rotaractors and the technical assistants who work behind the screens day in and day out to bring this session alive. Remembering what Rumi said before, love is not to be sought, it is to be found within by removing the barriers against love. So ladies and gentlemen, with the introduction session of Sagna 2.0 done, now it's your turn to remove your barriers against loving and helping another human being. As the organizers, we all hope that at the end, you all will have increased your capacity to help and love another human being to your fullest extent. Inviting you to stay tuned with us at all future sessions of Sagna 2.0. It's goodbye for now. Stay safe, stay healthy, and most importantly, have a productive week ahead.